I don't know if anybody's there. Am I live? Oh, I am. Wow. Cool. Just sit here and hang out for a little bit. Let's see what happens. Do. Exactly. I'm not sure what time it is. Okay, got 3 minutes to go. I can adjust the camera a little bit. Anybody there? I'm not sure at this point. Let's see how close we are. If anybody's out there, just post in the comments so I know you're here, and I think it's about time for us to start. One more minute or so. Okay, it's 1 o'clock Central Standard Time and I'm starting. Welcome, I'm Judy. It's the first time I've ever done Facebook Live, so I really have no idea if I'm doing this correctly or not. I'm just hoping that I actually am live. Who knows? My daughter will tell me yes or no on that. It is a special occasion since it's my first time to do this, so I dressed up for you today and I even put on a bra. You're welcome. Wore my special shirt, my Bob Ross shirt, because it embodies everything that I feel about creating an art. And if you've ever taken a class from me before, you'll know that one of the things I say all the time is there's no wrong. There is no wrong. There's no wrong. Just repeat that over and over and over again. It's just part of the process, and all of your artwork is going to look totally different. That's a good thing. Embrace it. Go on, and hopefully we have some fun with this. And fun is what we need right now with everything that's going on in the outside world. So again, welcome, and let's talk about trees. Today I'm just going to go over the material with you, what you're going to need in the way of supplies, which are actually pretty limited when it comes down to it. A lot of the things you will be able to find in your studio at home or on your shelves or wherever. So basic things first, and then we're going to really get into the process itself on Monday. We'll start in. So the very first thing that you're going to need is a canvas. Notice that I'm using a rectangular one in a portrait orientation. They're trees, so for the most part we're going to want them tall and stretched out, right? So get something, it'll work better in this orientation than a square canvas. This is probably about the smallest canvas that I would choose. Because of what we're doing, it's going to be easier for you to do it on a larger surface than it would be for you to do it in a smaller square surface. So notice that I have already drawn a tree on here. That's because that's your weekend assignment. If you have a canvas, go ahead and sketch out your tree. Doesn't have to be much detail. We're not going to need a lot of detail at all because all these pencil lines are going to be covered up. You're not going to see anything on here at all. I just wanted to generally lay it out so I know where things are going to go. This is a recycled canvas, by the way. I haven't been to the store lately, Michael, so I am just using what I've got on hand. Grabbed a canvas that I didn't like or was going, gessoed over it, and I'm using it. Some of the things may bleed through, and if they do, so what? We'll go with it. Anyway, use what you got. If you only have a square one, then just use what you got. Go with it. Okay, go ahead and do the sketching this weekend, and we can start on Monday with that done. Okay, so you got your canvas. Other materials that you're going to use. So look at a couple of finished pieces here. This is one that's finished, and by the way, I'm going to put the, God, my glasses keep sliding down my nose. I'm going to put the finished pieces on Juju's Mixed Media Mob, which is where all the information is going to go. I will also post a list of materials there after this live stream is finished. So you'll be able to find all the information there. And quite frankly, I have no idea if this video is going to just save or if it's going to go out into the etherness somewhere. I've got no clue. So who knows? We'll figure it out as we go. Anyway, this one was actually created using a material that we're not going to use, or I'll actually show it to you later on, but we're going to use a molding paste or modeling paste, whatever you have on hand. I like to use a light molding paste by Golden. That's just my preferred brand, but you don't have to use what you have. If it's a heavier modeling or molding paste, then use that. It's all cool. On this one, I actually used, what do you call it? The gauze, the wrap that you use. Like if you've got a cast on your arm and the doctor wraps it up, it's that gauze stuff that has the stuff on it, which I've totally gone brain dead. Anyway, I used that on there and then went over it with the molding paste. Then this material up here is sphagnum moss, which you may or may not have on hand. My background is just painting. I have done some texture on there. Another one. This one, by the way, notice Mushi is here. Mushi is one of the studio kitties, and he is keeping guard on the table. This is where they love to sleep. This one is done entirely with molding paste, no plaster on this one. It's just molding paste. This is a sphagnum moss, and I have used Crackle Paste in my background. So those are things you're going to need. You're going to need molding paste of some sort, heavy, regular, light, whatever you have. You're going to need that. You're going to need some moss if you've got that laying around, but I do have something that you can use as an alternative to that. In just a second, I'll show you. Crackle paste would be nice. You can add some background to your piece just to add some added texture there would be great. And this one is a tree that I created several years ago. I had a friend who gave me this huge bag of the name tags that you have. Name tags, they're the adhesive back, and some of them have metallic foil around the edge of them to make them pretty. She gave me these huge bags of them, and they were shredded. I was like, what the heck am I going to do with this, right? So I made trees with it, and it was fine. I stuck the stuff on there with just glue, and then I painted over it, and it was wonderful. I have seen trees done with pencil shavings out of your electric pencil sharpener. So it's all good there. This one is done with plaster. So background, again, I did this several years ago. This is before I fell in love with color art products, so there's no really metallics on this one, but that's it. Paint. Oh, backing up. Light molding paste. Golden. Or regular molding paste. Again, I love molding, but Liquitex is great too. Whatever you got, use it. Let's see here. Crackle Paste. Whatever Crackle Paste you got. I like Golden's because it goes down and it's not transparent when it goes down. It's not a liquidy. I can make texture with it. Whatever. So that's a good one. Another thing you're going to need is varnish. I use Liquitex varnish, the high gloss, and especially on pieces that I'm creating that have a lot of color on them, I use the gloss because it makes the colors pop more. If I'm using a 2D piece, such as the Bum Fuzzle behind me, then I use a satin. So it's your preference, whatever you got. You will need this to seal your painting. So think about that. You're going to need all your normal things like water. You're going to need your water cup, your paper towels, your wet wipes. You're going to need some palette knives, various sizes, brushes, various sizes. What you got there? Paints and texture, saving the best for last here. Texture. It's all about the texture when you do trees. We're going to try to do this so that the bark of the tree actually has texture to it. Has texture. That's really important. Get that really close. We want it to look like bark. And there's one way that I discovered to do that. And by the way, I'm not answering any comments on there because I can only see them on my phone and I'm like deaf. So I know that you're watching, and when we're finished, you guys can ask questions, and I think I'll be able to go back and find those questions on there. If I can't, then you can ask them to me on Gigi's. Textures. So how are we going to create the texture that looks like bark? That's where that molding paste comes in. And the reason I like the light molding paste so well is because it is light. It's going to dry faster, which is important. Okay, you just want it. The heavy stuff takes days to dry sometimes, and that's a real pain in the butt. So light is easier to work with. First off, I'm going to use several things. This big bag here is pumice. I like mixing sand, making my own additives to go in there. So I like mixing sand in there. I thought this was actually going to be coarser. I thought, oh, I can make my own pumice gel or whatever. So I ordered this bag of it on Amazon, and it's really fine stuff, more like sand, which was not what I wanted, but whatever, we'll make do with it. That's going to be, we're going to add that to some of your light paste, and that's going to be part of it. And then we're going to take that and we're going to continue to add to it. The light molding paste, or the light, this texture here with just the sand, will be for the top of the tree, because the top of the tree is the part that's furthest away from our point of view. If we're looking up for going to, all you're going to see, you're not going to see much texture up there, right? It's far away from you. So we'll use the stuff here with the pumice, just that, or the sand, or whatever you have. As we add our texture coming down the trunk, our textures are going to become more pronounced and bark-like, because they're going to be coming closer to our point of view, to our perspective. So we start out with, and we'll have just our sandy. And then my favorite additive that I work with, eggshells. I used to have people save, when I taught high school, I would have people save the eggshells for me. So I have just a veritable plethora of eggshells. So as we come down that tree, and we've used our sandy stuff at the top, we go down there. I'm going to add some eggshells that have been crushed. These are pretty fine. Okay, there's not much to them here. If you have a mortar and pestle, that would be perfect for grinding these up. I'm going to add some of this and the pumice to my light molding paste, and as I come down the tree, I'll add that in. As I get to the bottom of the tree, I'm going to add some of these larger pieces of eggshells. Obviously, I'm not going to add just like a big old chunk of eggshell. I'm going to crush them a little bit, and then I'll add those in to the molding paste, which already has, also have the sandy stuff in there. So, and that brings us to the bottom of the tree where the most texture is. So if you have some eggshells, or you have eggs this weekend, wash out your eggshells and let them dry so that you have them for Monday, because what we're going to do on Monday is start adding those textures. So you're going to need your additives by Monday, whatever you choose to use. And there's lots of things out there you can use. Get creative. You could use, if you don't have sand, what about coffee grounds or tea, dried tea? As long as you seal it well, it should be okay. All right, last, I think. If I've forgotten anything, you guys let me know. Oh, not last, we have to talk about the moss, but paint. Paint's the biggie. I'm looking this direction because I have all my paint here lined up. The paints I use most are Goldens. I love Golden because the pigment is so saturated with pigment. A little bit goes a long way. I'm sure you have, it doesn't have to be Goldens. It can be whatever you want. If you have Liquitex, that's fine. If you have craft paints, that's fine. It's whatever you have on hand. Do not go out and buy special things for this because you don't need them. Golden's my favorite. And for adding color, I admit that I have I just obsession with color art products. These are color art Vivids, and unfortunately they don't make these anymore. But what they do make is these jars of pigment that is called primary elements. You see that? And this is the dry pigment. It's more a watercolor. It's water activated pigment. And they mix that into a fixer, into the Vivids, and that's how they make their Vivids. I guess that just got to be too much of a pain to do, so they don't make it anymore. But you can get these, and you can mix them with the binder of your choice, gel mediums of some sort. I use them most of the time just with water. So, you don't have to have dried pigments. You don't have to have Goldens. Again, you can use whatever you have. Okay? You might want something, like I use Liquitex Basics sometimes if I'm doing whatever. These are less expensive than the Goldens, good to have around. Your tree, depending on how big your tree is, you're going to use a lot of paint on that. You also want to make sure that your coverage on your tree is more opaque, and the Goldens, the fluids, are more transparent. So this might be something like this, might be good, or heavy body paint for your trees. And if necessary, you can water the paint down and use it. Okay? You might need some browns, or you may choose to make your tree totally off the wall fantasy like the blue one that I showed you. Whatever you've got. Okay, trying to think, what else here? It's basically, again, whatever you've got that you can use. Okay. The moss, how do you make the tree? Sphagnum moss. Doesn't have to be this brand. It can be whatever. Doesn't have to be this color. But this is what I use most of the time. And I have a big box of it that I ordered from Amazon that's like huge, that I've got it on hand. And then we're going to adhere it to our surface. And that's what we're going to use that varnish for. The varnish is going to adhere it and seal it all in one. And after we get this adhered and down on our canvas, then we'll go back and we'll add some paint to it, get some detailing going on, and do what we need to do. So moss is good. If you don't have moss, use something else. Use the pencil shavings. Use, what was that? Shredded paper. Why not? Think about it this weekend. Just get creative. Look around your house. Things that you would normally throw in the trash. What do you have that might work for this? Who knows? That's the wonderful thing about being an artist is you look at things with new eyes. Eyes more like a child, right? So I think that is pretty much yeah, as far as what you're needing. So we've nailed it down here. You're gonna need your canvas, okay? A rectangular canvas, not huge, but medium-sized rectangular canvas in a portrait orientation. You're gonna need that. You need to go ahead and sketch your tree on it before Monday. You're gonna need the moss. You're gonna need modeling paste of some sort, some way to texture your trees, whatever it is. You're going to need the additives for it, some kind of sandy substance. Go outside. If you've got sand around you, just get a handful of dirt. What the heck? Or coffee grounds, tea grounds, whatever. That would work too. Eggs, have scrambled eggs for breakfast this weekend, and you can use those eggshells. And they'll probably, if you have scrambled eggs for your family, you'll have enough of the eggs shells to use for the tree. So you need that texture. You're going to need a varnish, a liquid varnish. If you don't use Liquitex, that's fine, but you're going to need some kind of, and it has to be liquid. So that's a must-have there. Doesn't have to be Liquitex though. Varnish, and then you're going to need obviously paints, brushes, palette knives. Your paint. Again, I use golden, any paint will do. You can even do that background, you can even use watercolors, okay? Liquid watercolors, pan watercolors, whatever you have, because we're going to seal it anyway, so who cares? If you have Daler-Rowney, if you have acrylic inks, that's another thing that I use a lot, Daler-Rowney acrylic inks. I'll probably pull those in and use them. I use what I have. Those paints, and I'm sure, oh my gosh, I'm sure I'm forgetting stuff, but who knows? Oh, Crackle Paste. Crackle Paste. You're not the, there's some Crackle Paste that is really liquid and goes on and it turns transparent. You really don't want that. You could use Chroma. That goes on liquid and it dries white and has the cracks in it. You could use that. We'll deal with it. Do you want to have, let's see, do you want to have a line of, do you want to have landscape here? Do you want to have your horizon line? Do you want to have a differentiation here between ground and sky? If you do, think about what are you going to add in texture here that's going to make it look different from here. I like to use the Crackle Paste in my sky. I love the way colors sink into that. And you'll notice if you look in here, I stopped adding detail as I got up higher. That's because that's where our moss is going to go, so you're not going to see it. So don't worry about it. Figure out the basic areas when you sketch your tree, basic areas where you're going to put stuff. Okay, so about to finish up here. That's it for the first one. This wasn't too painful, I hope. Hopefully I can see all your remarks after this is over. Again, I'm going to post the list of materials on Juju's Mixed Media Mob on Facebook. I'll put the list of materials there so that everybody can find it. If you're not a member of Juju's, then please join. That's where I will hopefully be able to put maybe if I can copy this video, I have no idea if I can or not, maybe put a video in there. I don't know, it'll be somewhere. I'll figure it out and I'll let you know. So, I think that's it. Monday, you have your assignment, canvas, drawing. And you'll need your textures on Monday because that's what we're going to do is we're going to apply all our textures to the tree. So have that ready. And guys, thank you for being patient with me and understanding as I work through this. Again, there's a learning curve. It's a lot different than teaching a class where you've got bodies in front of you. So love you all. Thanks for being here. Stay safe. Be kind. I'll see you Monday. Bye.